Hey guys, and welcome back to Vlogs and Frogs. My name is Ryan Peterson, for those of you who don't know, and tonight we're gonna take some time and learn about this cutie right here. This right here is the eastern tree frog. Look at those little tree cuties. They're so adorable, and look at those long legs. Oh, and he's jumping. Hello, little frog. Oh, ready? Frog attack. Let's learn.
Eastern gray tree frogs have very warty, rough skin and rather large toe pads that are very, very sticky because of the slimy mucus they produce. They range in color from greenish or brownish to gray, and adults have several large, dark blotches on their backs. Also, there is often a dark-edged light spot under their eyes. Eastern gray tree frogs also have a bright yellow or orange coloring on the inside of their thighs that they can flash at predators to confuse them when they are under attack. Boo! Male and female tree frogs look the same, except that the underside of the male's chins are much darker. This is because they have sacs in their throats for calling during mating season, and females do not. They sound beautiful, kinda like this. That sound just makes my heart melt. Well, anyways, eastern gray tree frogs can be found throughout the eastern United States and southern Ontario, but they are not found in southern Florida or Maine. Their range extends out west to Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and North and South Dakota. Because eastern gray tree frogs need temporary pools or permanent water for breeding, they live in forested areas that are in or near permanent water. During the summer months, they tend to live in moist areas, in hollow trees or rotted logs. In winter, they hibernate under tree roots and leaves. Eastern gray tree frogs are nocturnal, which means they are mainly active during the evening and night. They live high in trees or shrubs. They are easily found during breeding season, but are very rarely seen the rest of the year. They have the ability to change color from gray to green or brown, depending on the activities they're doing and the environment they're in. In the winter, these frogs bury themselves beneath logs, leaves, and dirt. About 40% of their body can freeze during the winter. They keep their bloodstream from freezing by producing a cool antifreeze-like fluid called glycerol. Now the rest of their body fluids usually become frozen during hibernation. Isn't that just mind-boggling? Absolutely insane! Eastern gray tree frogs have a shrill, chirp-like call. It lasts for about a second and repeats on 3 or 4 second intervals. Male eastern gray tree frogs call most often during mating season. Cope's gray tree frogs and eastern gray tree frogs have slightly different calls. This is in fact actually one of the only two ways in which they can be told apart, because they look oh so similar. Cope's gray tree frogs make roughly between 35 to 70 notes per second, while eastern gray tree frogs only make about 17 up to 35 notes per second. So again, here's the eastern gray tree frog. And here's the Cope's gray tree frog. Isn't that gnarly? Wow! Eastern gray tree frogs forage on the ground and in vegetation for things like small insects, spiders, mites, and snails. Eastern gray tree frogs are a source of food for a wide variety of predators, such as skunks, possums, raccoons, snakes, turtles, all sorts of little critters. And the predators vary greatly depending on where the frog lives. Well, also, now on to mating. Eastern gray tree frogs follow the same developmental pattern that is found in most frogs. Their eggs are laid in shallow pools, and tadpoles emerge after a few days. Then, the tadpoles are very small and somewhat fish-like in appearance. And after 2 to 2.5 months, they transform, or they metamorphosize. And then, slowly they turn into young frogs, slowly growing legs and losing their tails and moving on up onto land like a time lapse of evolution. Eastern gray tree frogs are almost always bright green right after metamorphosis, and they stay this way for some time before taking on their adult coloration. They live to be about 7 years old. What a life! What a life! Well guys, that's all I've got for now, so I'm gonna go get to hopping along, and I hope you guys have a very, very hoppy day. Okay, bye. Love ya. See ya.